Alright, welcome back everyone. Starting off here on our puzzle block, we have infrabread with Lightmatter. Infrabread, take it away.
Good morning guys, gals, and non-binary pals. How are you all doing today? My name is infrabread and welcome to Lightmatter. This is a first-person puzzle game set in an underground scientific facility, and we have a disembodied voice guiding us through the entire game, who is violently sarcastic. Aperture? I barely even know her. Right, jokes aside, I really absolutely love this game, and this title screen does show it off pretty good. We have Black Shadow area. If we touch that, that is no bueno. And we have a lamp on a stick. And that makes light, obviously. So, light matters. The clues in the question. Genuinely, it's a really fun puzzle game, and casually, it only takes about 4 or 5 hours to beat. So you could probably do it in 2 settings. I'll get into the speed tech when the run starts, but the very first thing is in the extras menu, we have speedrun stats. This is individual level time, and then the total in-game time, and then a lot of other stuff which you really don't care about. You need to have that activated for the run to officially count on SRC. And when going to level selection, there are 38 levels in total, and time starts once I select level 1. So if we're ready on time, we can start. In 3, 2, 1, go. And we're off. Now, as I said during the intro bit, this is set in an underground scientific facility, and something has gone horribly wrong. As you can see right now. We'll get to the thing in a minute, but level 1 and 2 are mostly just story-based, so I'm going to ignore that and talk about the actual game itself. As you're seeing right now, I'm just holding W for the most part, so there's, unlike Portal, which is the game I was sort of referring to in the beginning, there is no special bunny hopping or any sort of movement tech. It is just hold W and jump occasionally. The only kind of speed tech, I guess, would be jumping upstairs. That's the speed you walk if you're just going upstairs normally, and jumping upstairs is significantly faster. And to say significantly, I mean like 1/10 of a second or so. Definitely worth doing that. That's really the only movement tech, as well as climbing, which isn't really used that much, weirdly, but still. So movement-wise, it's not particularly as intensive as Portal, but it's definitely heavily optimized if you want to get a good time. And you may have noticed a slight lag spike there. A gimmick that this game has is no loading screens whatsoever. So I'm just gonna effectively do this single segment. And hey look, there is our disembodied voice. Well, there is our embodied voice. Yeah, this is literally the only time in the game you will ever see him, so say hello. That's Virgil, by the way. I was talking over the announcement before.
But I need you to pay attention. First off, walk through that door.
Level 1 and 2 are just story-based. There's nothing much I can say here, really. Apart from just general light movement optimizations.
You might trip.
And as I said about jumping upstairs, I'm also going to jump downstairs. Again, for the same reason, that it's very, very slightly faster than just walking regularly. And again, talking about jumping downstairs, I will try to land on the hand railings as much as I can, because I'm not supposed to land there, so the game is actually going to shove me off. It will give me a very, very, very slight speed boost. It's a free time save, you literally just need to press jump and you're probably going to get it. So that's now. There you go. Land on the handrail, the game shoves me off of the handrail, and I get like 1/10 of a second speed boost. Oh yeah, that was Lightmatter, by the way. That's the whole point of this game. I was just ignoring that. You'll see this in this cutscene right now. But that is Lightmatter. That is like the whole energy source of this facility. And now we have a cutscene of about 40 seconds or so. Gio, if you want to say anything, do that now.
But stand strong and tell them that Virgil, the CEO of Lightmatter Technologies, saved your life, and that the side effects are under control. Goodbye.
Sorry, stream delay moment. Lol. Yeah, there isn't really much to say other than we did reach 20k cookies on the cookie clicker, which is fun.
Nice. Well, like 5 hours?
So
Nice.
here's the thing. I'm not sure if you were paying too much attention, but there was an auto clicker going up until like 20 minutes ago. That was doing 3
yeah.
clicks a second. I think was the decided
okay.
limit before Twitch starts acting up.
Oh yeah, because I definitely was clicking on that thing as well, because obviously, why would you? And I had to slow down in order to not get the
It's
screen. Anyway, back
sorry.
to the game I'm playing. Yes, actual gameplay now. This is level 3. That was, I guess, technically the only actual cut in the game. It's going to be single segment, technically. And here's the first point at which you can die. Shadow, no bueno. Lighty, yes bueno. I know Spanish. Now this light flickers on and off, and technically you can get that first cycle, but I'm not comfortable enough with that timing to do it in a marathon. I have got there before. Personally, I'm not really that consistent. So that was basically the introduction to the whole concept of the game. Shadow bad, not shadow not bad. Click the button, please, thank you. First puzzles are relatively simple, of course. It is an introduction to the gameplay, not even to the main element, which is lamp on a stick. You just need to press buttons and move these platforms about. This is just moving stuff about, pressing buttons, the very basic stuff, of course.
Think the floor is lava, just with shadows that absorb organic material.
There we go. That is a really good explanation of the concept in game, which I honestly quite like. Floor is lava, simple enough. And this is also a good time to explain what I just did 2 seconds ago. Of course, touching shadow is bad, we don't want to do that, but the game does have a very slight leniency, so we can stand in just a tiny bit and still be okay. It's mainly just a peace of mind thing, so that you don't touch 1 pixel and then immediately die. And we are going to use and abuse that to our advantage. That's a lamp. Yeah, simple as, that's a lamp. You click once to pick it up, and click again to put it back down. And also the lamps instantly snap to whatever direction you're looking at. Which again I'm going to use for specific setups, because it's an instant snap. Oh, there was actually no lag there. First maps, of course, are simple, it's just introduction to the puzzles themselves. I do want to mention that quite a lot of these maps are effectively the intended solution, but fast. So there's no major skips for now. I will do a few quite a bit later on in the game, but actually quite a lot of them are just intended but fast. So if you want to play this game casually or speedrun it, I definitely would recommend it.
The side effects of those same crystals cost me my leg. Wrong. I conquered a mountain for the first photon.
More exposition, which I'm ignoring, and actually, yeah, there's Lightmatter, which is the thing we saw on the lift going up like 2 minutes ago.
Beam of light you see is Lightmatter. The source of
There's more exposition that I'm ignoring, and more buttons I'm failing.
Photon crystals. It is so powerful that it shakes the very foundation of this facility. I still remember my first successful prototype. The beam seemed so solid, it looked like light had become matter. I built on that, and now look at it.
There is one more thing about these lamps, is you actually move slightly slower when holding a lamp. So you may not have noticed it, but I'll definitely show you in a couple of seconds. And specifically, strafing while holding a lamp is even slower. So if I'm holding a lamp, I want to be looking straight forward as much as I can. I can show it off right now. Right now is a good way to show it off. This is my regular speed when walking and holding a lamp. It's this fast.
Now that I think about it,
And
where were you during the launch event?
now I'm very slightly
All guests
faster
were taken directly
when
to
actually
the tram.
not holding a lamp.
So you must have
You know,
snuck
it
away
might not
somehow.
show up too well on video, but when you're actually playing the game, it is quite significant. Just how much the difference can be.
So, health and safety inspector, let me do
Yeah,
your
the
job.
protagonist is never actually
You see
named,
that
and
giant
it's
piece
very
of
unclear
metal moving
who
back
we're
and
actually
forth?
controlling.
It's a
It is
top-grade
part of the
mineral
plot, sort of.
decontaminator.
Again, I'm speedrunning this, so I'm just
I heard
completely
that my
ignoring that.
employees were losing their
Even during my
hair.
casual playthrough, just
Once
ignoring most of the
installed,
plot, because
cellular
I'm an idiot.
degradation fell
Need
by
to focus on one thing at a time.
37%. Excellent.
And now, these are moving platforms, obviously. And
There's a
these
bridge
buttons are,
right around the
also...
corner.
Wait,
Cross
what
it,
did I say?
and you'll
These
be on
buttons
the
are
direct path to
cycle-based,
sunshine.
so depending on the
And my
level,
security
you can
manager,
either press the button
James.
once, and
Oh, yes,
the
he was
platform needs to
evacuated as
complete
well.
the entire animation of going backwards and forwards.
Dare risk his health
And
safety.
depending on the level, you can mash-click the button and change direction. I just lost 1 second, just to demonstrate that. So just when playing the game, sometimes I'm
Be
going to
careful
get a
with
mash
my
click,
lamps.
like I
At
did there
Lightmatter
accidentally,
Technologies,
and
we
sometimes I'm
treat
going to
our
deliberately click
inanimate
one time.
objects with respect,
It's a thing you
not like
notice
those
when playing the
monsters of
game.
Aperture science.
Press button, and now we're going to go to the end of the game. We're actually quite decently ahead of schedule. Oh no! Something happened! How could I have ever foreseen this?
Ah, the bridge collapsed.
Anyway, here's a cutscene of about a minute
That's
or
why I
so.
don't trust you inspectors.
Yeah,
I
I'm
built
gonna
it up
ignore
to
the
code,
story
to what was
and check
legally
Twitter on my
required of
phone.
me, yet what good did it
The
do?
beginning of the game is quite story heavy, but actually after this cutscene, it's quite a big chunk of levels without any story to interrupt us.
Will be open soon enough.
Or us to interrupt the story, whichever way around it goes, I don't know.
Yes, James, this is Virgil. I need...
I do actually need to pay attention to this one, because at the very end of this cutscene, I do listen to an audio cue
punch
for
something.
this door to open.
We will find your cat later. Now focus. I need details for a new evacuation route. The inspector didn't make it across the bridge. It collapsed. Must have pushed the button too hard. Yes. Uh-huh, I thought so. Plan out the rest of the route, and do it faster than last time. Goodbye, James. Inspector, the door is
Anyway,
open. Run along
That was the
now.
one audio cue I needed. Okay, and 11 is a very fun cycle-based map. But these platforms move backwards and forwards, and we need to... Well, cycle-based maps in this game
All right,
specifically,
Inspector. Your
not
failure to
really
push
that
a button
difficult
has
to
resulted
get
in a change of
the
plans.
correct
You will
cycle.
be taking a detour
So I was waiting on
to
that
another
platform because it
elevator.
really doesn't matter. That second
Now,
platform was going to move away
show some
regardless,
gratitude
so
for the amount
I'm
of
not
effort
wasting
I
any
put
time
into keeping
waiting
you
on that
alive.
first platform.
Keep an eye out for James's cat, Lux. James
What I'm
wants to
doing
know
now
he's safe.
is an
You see,
intended
James
game
can't
mechanic.
function
You cannot
properly when
jump
he's
while
sad.
holding a lamp. Which is definitely, I would say definitely really important to the game, because that means you cannot cheese anything, or at least easily cheese stuff. There's still fun to be had with first-person platforming. There you go.
Listen,
So getting
I
the
have a
correct
limited
cycle,
amount of
not
patience,
difficult, you just need to
and
pay
this
attention to
detour
what you
is
do.
exhausting it.
Also,
Lightmatter
this is another
demands my
lift, or
attention.
another button you can mash, flick, and have it go
You'll be
down
on
again.
your own for a little
I
while.
know from experience,
Just know that I
from trial and
admire
error.
your persistence. With everything you've been through, I would hate my life if I were you.
This
Now,
level
you'll
introduces
survive
a
as long as you
really
stick to the
obvious
green
mechanic,
exit signs. Good luck.
but it needs to be taught in universe. The further away you are from a light source, the bigger the cone of illumination gets. Very obvious, but it needs to be stated in universe as part of a puzzle. So now the lamp is further away from us and illuminates a larger area. And here we have Ellen. I'll let her introduce herself.
My name is Ellen, and things here are... Okay. First off, I am
Okay, that
really
pause was a
proud
lot longer than I thought it was.
engineer
Anyway,
at Lightmatter Technologies.
apparently, Virgil is not a very good person, as it turns out.
People are getting sick left and right.
So there is some shenanigans going on behind the scenes with
Now,
Ellen
until
and
launch,
Virgil.
all outside communication is prohibited.
But yeah, I
Not
forgot
only
his name.
that, leave permits are invalid.
With those moving platforms I completely skipped by, there is no button to make it go anti-clockwise. So I need to constantly mash click to have it go forward. Slightly annoying, but there's nothing I can do about
I knew
it.
something was wrong, but I never thought they would lock down the facility like this.
No, this is just a map. This is just a puzzle to introduce the concept of moving platforms. Even as puzzles, casually, these are pretty simple.
I felt something on my head. I opened my eyes, and Arthur is standing over me, in the dark, holding.
Something you're not going to notice, but something you will going to notice once you're actually playing the game. Just out of habit, I'm holding down the jump button. Just in case I accidentally jump too early, because then I can still ledge grab my way up there just to save myself.
I wish I'd said that. But there
The ledge grabbing isn't really used that often.
The CTO of Lightmatter Technologies.
And
The
now,
man I spent years
I can
working
use
with.
the...
The man I am helping
I can
to
stand
save
in
the
the actual
world.
black shadows for just a tiny bit,
I could
and
barely
place that lamp
recognize
90 degrees sideways, saving quite a decent chunk of time. I guess that's the first skip in the game. Can't exactly remember.
I can't stop Arthur.
You have more exposition.
Nobody
if you
believes
want to
a man
listen
of
to
that
that.
status would poison people like that. And apparently, losing my hair at the age of
Honestly, I
31
would really
isn't
recommend
proof enough.
playing this game casually.
I need to
As I said
take
in the
more
intro,
drastic
it's...
measures.
Well, for me personally, it took about 5 hours to
How did
complete.
you get all the way
That's
over there?
3 sittings, I believe.
Well,
But if
impressive.
you're actually good with puzzles, it can
You
probably
realized
take
how
less
much
time
of a
than
waste
that
of
even.
time you are, and took a shortcut.
I'm just casually blasting through all these because, as I said, a lot of these puzzles, a lot of the speedrun tricks is just the intended solution but faster.
But never mind. You will be
So
taking
you don't
what
need
you
to
see
learn
here to your grave.
specifically that many speed
Don't worry,
tricks.
it's just a
He
standard
says going into
non-disclosure
4
agreement.
levels in a row with specific speed tricks. I did say previously that once you grab a lamp, it changes direction instantaneously,
Inspector,
and I will use
admire
that
competence, and you've shown.
to skip this
So let me
section
tell
of
you a
level.
bit about my technology.
The big blue and
panels
yellow
that
circles
you
you
fit
saw on
under
the wall
the
are
power
switches,
machinery, those are the photon power cells.
or power cells as
You see, my
they're
former
actually called.
partner, Arthur,
They're
designed
just switches,
this
you need
part
to
of
activate them with the
facility.
light,
When
and then
he
they can
did,
activate a
he
thing.
used primitive copper
I can
for
instantly
wiring.
switch from
Once I
one to
increased the
another,
voltage, it
and then
melted.
while the
So I
door is
bypassed
closing,
that
I have
idiocy
just
by
barely enough
retrofitting
time
doors, lifts,
to
etc.
jump from
with
one to
photon
another,
power cells.
or to jump to the
Those
excess.
power cells function as both energy converters and
And
switches.
finally, well, not finally, and another instance of using the Lydian seat is very slightly walk into the black shadows.
Impressive.
Making
You're
that
the smartest
easier,
inspector I've
definitely.
ever met. A low bar, sure, but a bar
Level 18 and 19 use that mechanic to its fullest, or exploited that mechanic to its fullest, I should say. 'Cause these two maps in a row are, in my opinion, quite difficult, because they both need to be reasonably precise. And I'm going to actually hit an autosave trigger, because there's no manual quick saving. So only for these 2 levels, I'm going to walk backwards to hit an autosave trigger, so if I die, I can retry this relatively quickly. But I got a first try, #gaming. And I get the second one, please let me funny. Level 19, in my opinion, is more difficult than 18. Again, I'm going to hit an autosave trigger. There. Jump once, jump twice, first try. Genuinely, that's really nice. And that was the gold split as well. Nice.
We'll have a talk once you get out.
Right, after this we have... well, puzzle-wise, it's pretty easy as well. Oh, can I get that? There we go.
Since you're a journalist,
And because I cannot jump while holding a lamp, I need to finagle my way properly.
yes, I
We
read
get a
the
lamp up
papers.
here
I like to keep myself
and skip half the puzzle.
misinformed.
It's a bit
Do you
annoying,
know
but really
what makes
not that
his lies
precise.
so convincing?
Because if you walk into a lamp, the game just does sort of shove you out the way, so that you're not occupying the same
Lightmatter
space.
caused hair
So I need
loss
to constantly
and
readjust
other
my
minor
position.
side effects. But I solved
Not
all
as
of that
difficult as I
with
make it
mineral
out to be, honestly.
decontaminators. What did Arthur do? He poisoned our employees.
Yeah, so that's actually, yeah, level
Exaggerated
16 to
those
level
side effects
19
in his crusade
is
to
quite a
destroy
difficult
me.
chunk to get in one take without dying.
Jealousy
So level
can be so
20
ugly.
and so on
can be
is
so
more story-based.
All-consuming. It
Well,
consumed
speedrunning-wise,
our
it's not that difficult.
It
Puzzle-wise,
consumed
I
our
can't fully
friendship,
remember.
And it almost destroyed this entire facility.
Actually, that's during my casual playthrough, that was another gold segment, nice. During my casual playthrough, figuring out that I can walk and hold a lamp at the same time was a 500 IQ move, honestly. That took me ages to figure out. Yeah, level 17 specifically, I got stuck on.
If it's any consolation, I'll let you write an exclusive about me.
And we have more story-related stuff. So, click the cookie, please. Get to a bigger number, higher than 20k. I don't know. Can we get to... Could we probably get to 30,000 before the run finishes? Might be a bit low of a number, to be honest. Level 22. This is slightly different to the other levels previously, because this is effectively two levels glued together. We're gonna do one puzzle, another puzzle, cutscene gonna happen, then we're going to do this exact puzzle backwards. Oh yeah, so it's 3 puzzles glued together. So it's one of the longest segments in the game, but not particularly difficult in terms of speedrun. The moving platforms were definitely a really interesting mechanic with puzzling.
I understand the need for journalists. People in power need to be held accountable. I'm no exception. I just hope you're fair when you write about me.
Now we're going to have one lamp on the moving platform and one lamp next to the moving platform, so that this section is constantly illuminated and the lamp comes towards us. It may sound obvious now, but that took quite a while for, well, admittedly smooth-brained me to figure out.
Well done, journalist.
Thank you, Anonymous Voice.
James, ask him to check the time.
Now we have another cutscene coming up, about a minute or so.
See you on the other side.
Gio, do your thing.
Once again.
Oh, dodge hacking done. It's nothing could go my way. Yeah, there was that 3 in a row where we press a button and something bad happens.
Listen,
It's almost like gameplay is quite important to this video game.
I'll tell you when to stop.
Cutscene over when I'm going to unsolve the puzzle I was just in, and then do the rest of the game.
I just snuck into Arthur's office.
And more exposition.
It's worse than I thought. Arthur is trying to sabotage Lightmatter. It's not just poisonings. I found the schematics for his experiment on the core.
Oh, damn.
He's not trying
Yeah,
to improve
I'm dead now.
He's trying to overload it.
And honestly, deaths don't
If he manages to
really
do that,
impact the game
we
that
are
much,
all
because I'm now
going to
back.
die.
The game auto-saves constantly,
I'm not going to let
and the
Arthur
actual
ruin our
animation of
future.
you dissolving into the
I have
goo
to
is
get to
about 2
Virgil.
seconds. So, at maximum, you're going to lose about
Whoever
10
finds this, if
per
it's
death.
not too late, tell Virgil that Arthur needs to be stopped.
And even in my PB, I died, I think, 6 times. So it's not that big a deal. As long as you don't constantly do it over and over just to get one trick. Level... oh, excuse me there. Level 23 is, well, again, a story, but level 24 introduces a new mechanic with Lightmatter. Unless it be explained in-game, but genuinely, these are some really difficult puzzles to do casually, because of the weird and new concept. Of course, the first couple of levels are just introduction of the mechanic, but later on, I believe... I cannot remember the exact number, but I think 32 out of 38 was what I definitely struggled on casually. I think it's 32, I can't exactly remember. Also, once we get into level 24, that is effectively the halfway point of the run. Or close to that. Yeah, look at my splits. Exiting 24 is about halfway. Yeah, there we are. That is the new testing element. It's called a photon connector. It's effectively a lamp on a stick, but it also produces light where we are, so a circle around us. And, well, I'll just... Well, show, don't tell. I'll do that. So, a beam of light.
A beam of light so magnificent.
So around
it
us
almost
is
looks
a
like
circle of
matter being
light,
created before
and
you.
from the photon to that crystal is a beam of light. There is
Fascinating,
one
isn't it?
intended mechanic.
The
Oh, there we
connectors
go.
suspend photon crystals over
It's
electromagnets. As
this
long
uses
as they're
a
in
line of
sight
sight
to what I call the mother
mechanism
source, they
with just a
create
dead
a
straight
powerful
line.
beam of light
Now
matter.
you see
A
that
beam
I have a
so
slightly orange
powerful
and a slightly
that it
red beam.
produces a surplus of energy.
That is solely
Although
a
the
visual
connectors are just
indicator and has
prototypes for the
no
core,
impact on the
they
actual
explain the
gameplay.
very essence of light matter.
It's just a visual indicator. If it's really, really dark red, it's about to lose connection. But if it's white, it's perfectly fine. It's just
Know
visual,
this,
there is
without the
nothing
technology behind the
gameplay-wise about that.
connectors, photon crystals would be no
I do
better than
use it
diamonds,
in this level,
boring
actually,
and devoid of
to
motion.
line up
The
for
crystals
a
possess
specific
great
trick.
power, but it's my
Because
technology
intended,
that
you're supposed to do
releases
these
and
crystals in
tames that
the
power.
opposite order. First go to the left side and then place the one I just did. But I can now look at the floor tile
Assistant,
and look at the
I think a
color of
lot
the beam
about
to
the
just
future.
barely have these two be
in
connected.
these labs, I've spent years
And
testing the
that.
prototypes under various conditions,
Getting those
all
crystals
to
in the
ensure
opposite
the
order.
success of the core. You see,
Ooh, lights on.
although the photon connectors have 100.2%
Now I'm going to rail grind.
I've reached 107%.
There we go. You can technically do that with every single moving platform in the game. Some are easier than others because this one specifically had a wall on one side. I could hold W. Yeah, I could hold W and D at the same time, sort of go diagonally. That one's pretty easy. There's a few later on in the game, which I personally don't do, but you can do them to skip levels.
No matter how many times we see it,
Yeah, there's the
it
core.
leaves
That's
us in awe,
science. I don't
doesn't
know.
it, assistant? This is everything.
And once again, we're going to use the color of the beam as a visual lineup. We're supposed to effectively make a big C shape with these two crystals, this one further along. But because that crystal can move, I can hug this railing and instantly switch from one to another. Jump on this railing and immediately get past there. Because as I said previously, you cannot jump while holding a photon crystal, or else that level would be near trivial.
Let us ignore the quakes for now. Imagine
Yeah, it's a visual indicator when the
providing sustainable
beam is
and
about to
renewable
break.
energy
Where
to
am I?
millions. That is
Okay.
the future we are striving
So
for.
I'm going to place this one here and this one there. I thought I could just barely make it, but no. I'm not losing that much time.
Assistant,
I lost more time trying to figure out what part of the level I was.
we are shutting down the core.
Anyway, now for a significantly easier puzzle and significantly easier level.
Since I'm limited by my body,
You may have noticed I do look at the floor quite a ton. That's just to use the floor tiles as a visual lineup of where to place that light. If you place it too far forward, these cubicle walls can actually block it. You need to go back around and chase it again.
As my assistant,
Just to make that a bit more
you'll
consistent.
be the one pulling the lever. When I told James of this plan, he seemed jealous.
As you may have heard in a previous level, Aperture Science was actually mentioned by name. And in level 28, we do actually get a portal Easter egg. Well, actually one of two portal Easter eggs. It's a really fun one. Nice, gold segment. It's a really fun one in my opinion, and I will definitely show it off because I just like it.
Allowing you to walk your fragile little head out of here. But more importantly, observing the shutdown will provide me
That is
the
actually an intended
information
part
I
of the
need
puzzle,
to
is you
fix the
move
side
backwards and
effects
have to jump off.
permanently. The
That's
core
not a speed
will
trick.
repower, and it will shine
This is a speed
eternally.
trick. I can place this crystal just barely on the corner, so that I can use the other crystal on the other platform to make a jump over. Damn it. There we go. Stay on the flat bit, not the slanty bit. There we go. Now for... yeah, this is why we need... Yeah, this is why we need to place those
Do you want to
crystals
hear a
correctly.
secret? Aperture Science has an
come
artificial
on.
intelligence prototype. They
Anyway,
tested
that was
it
the
by
portal Easter egg.
having
That was
it
still
create
live playing on the
the
radio,
perfect
but
cake recipe. It
But
succeeded.
Virgil played.
But the first iterations of that
Yes.
recipe used
That was still
neurotoxin
alive playing
as
on the
the
radio for those who
impressive.
didn't hear it.
With that agility and complete
But
disregard for
unfortunately,
your own safety,
there was
one could easily mistake
dialogue.
you for a cat. I like cats.
This level, actually, I think was quite tricky for me, mainly because I'm an idiot.
Plants around you, assistant.
But what we're going to do effectively is
planted
make
them
a square
yesterday.
with these two
You
lights.
see, Lightmatter
So now we're
accelerates
going to place these two lamps to go
and makes them
up
grow
and to
at
the
an
right.
incredible rate.
And then
Imagine
I'm going to
applying this
replace one of the
technology to
lights so that we
cultivation
can go
throughout
right
the
and then
world.
up.
Famine, mass
Again, that's to cross the
deforestation,
gap because,
floods,
again, we cannot
all of
jump with these lights in
relegated to
hand.
history. Lightmatter will not only brighten the world, it will give life.
Now we're going to form two sides of a square with one lamp there and that one there. Now we're going to take that first lamp all the way back around to eliminate this section of the game, or of these platforms. These, yeah, the interaction can be a bit finicky because it's only one button. Actually, both mouse buttons do the same, so if I'm wanting to mash click a button, I press left and right at the same time. Not that big a deal, really. Now we can cross this gap and get to the end of the level.
Assistant, by
There we
now
go.
you must understand the significance of Lightmatter. So it's
Worth
about
it.
time you learn how Arthur
I
almost
wanted to
destroyed
be
it.
cool. I
3
should
months
just not bother.
and a lot of hair ago, Arthur
Okay.
went to the board of directors.
Relatively
behind my
simple
back.
puzzle
He
using
proved
moving
to them that
platforms and a
Lightmatter was causing minor
photon
side
crystal in the middle.
effects. It was humiliating, but I solved the problem by installing the decontaminators.
I'm going to do that again at some point just to do it in a run.
That is when Arthur started
You don't have much to
poisoning
do
people.
between level transitions.
Later, that vermin of
slight
a man
lag.
had the nerve to use that as
Well,
further
yeah,
proof
actually,
to
this
the
now
board.
I'm match clicking with both
While
left
we were
and right click at the same
investigating the
time.
matter, one of my employees
There's both
discovered
buttons,
his
there's
plan
only
to
one button game.
overload the core and destroy the entire
Well,
facility.
it's 5 buttons if you include WASD.
Luckily, James and I stopped him
Yeah, you
before it
press
was
that
too
twice.
late. Arthur paid for what he did, but nothing can
Then
redeem betrayal.
connect, and off we go. So now we have
All right,
yeah,
now,
end of
you're
level
getting
30 and
close
the
to
entirety of
core,
31
but the
is
quakes are
effectively a
getting-
cutscene.
Hold on.
Really? I should just not bother. Come on.
James, you have brawn, not
Okay, I'm just not going to attempt that anymore.
My new assistant and I
Level
have the
31 is a
situation under
cutscene,
control.
so
Stay in the
Gio,
outpost
do the
to
thing.
keep everyone safe. Goodbye.
Just a question about the game.
You know,
Does the game have strafing to where you're missing those 360s?
you possess
No, it's just me being bad because I'm doing a 360 for absolutely no reason.
and silent.
This game is made in the Unity game engine, so if that makes any if that can help anyway. So there's no source style strafing and body.
It's
or whatever.
it's possible to have source style movement in Unity, but I don't think there are any prefab player movement systems that
It's not the
have it.
default. Oh, hey, we just destroyed a piece of infrastructure by existing. So yeah, that's number 4 actually for those who keep count.
Well, at least you still have your legs. Let's see.
And now, specifically for this one section,
You're moving into my new
I'm moving at the same speed I would if I was holding a lamp.
communication systems and
So
cameras are
this speed
non-existent.
is if I'm holding a lamp,
That area is
and
dangerous, so stick to the
this
exit
speed is normal.
signs. We're in this
That's probably the
together.
most
See
drastic
you
change
soon.
you can see. It's only for that one section is really weird. Level 32 is, in my opinion, the most difficult to speedrun level. Because we need to use and abuse the color indicators on every single lamp placement, or every single crystal placement.
People are still losing
There.
hair and now fingernails.
All of them need
It
to be
doesn't
accurate.
make any sense.
I'm going to take my time and do that relatively slowly, but get it without dying.
Arthur. And still things are getting worse. I don't
So,
care what Virgil says.
That one is annoying from a speedrunning standpoint.
Phone here.
It's
Virgil
really
has
not that
planned
bad as a
some
puzzle.
security into Arthur's office, but I managed to get in. I'm having a closer look at his overload schematics. And
Yeah, actually, you saw the visual change of the plants all around the place, which was level 30, I believe. This section, let's say level 30 onwards, in my opinion, has the most difficult puzzles in the game. Like, casually, this ending section, of course, took me the longest.
I've gone through Arthur's theory.
And now we have some shenanigans going on, where science isn't as ethical as you may assume. Optical segment? How?
Herschel knew, and he did nothing.
Yeah, the next level is again about a minute or so of cutscene.
They will devour us.
So nothing to do apart from railgrind.
This doesn't change what he
There you
did.
go.
But I need to finish his work.
Actually, I will admit right now, if you're...
Get out of there.
Let me
That's
word this
Arthur's.
carefully. If you are sensitive to flashing lights,
It's not safe.
do not worry about playing this game.
I'll open the nearest exit
Even
door.
though you have to work with
Do
light
not
and
touch
contrast, this game
anything.
is very good about not having flashing lights. I missed a dialogue cue. So yeah, it is... So yeah, what's going to come up now is a bright fade to white, not constant on and off flashing. That,
You're not qualified for
personally, I don't mind it, but still, I think that's a really nice accessibility thing.
about the power of Lightmatter. You are currently quadrupling that power.
So yeah, now we're overloading this system, which is bad? Question mark? I don't really pay attention to any of this. Close to the end, a couple more puzzles, which casually were definitely the more difficult ones. But now, the thing has gone explodey, which I assume is not good, and now the shadow anomalies have gone away, but we can still stand in the shadows. Technically do two different things, because these shadows are dull and a single color, and in just a couple of seconds, the shadow anomalies will be bright and shiny, right there. So that's how you can tell what you can stand in and what you can't. That's only ever used for that one 20-second cutscene. Quite odd, but still. You can technically stand in shadows.
About your survival, and so am I. But I will
Actually,
feed
here
you to
in
the
this level we
shadows
have
if
the
I
other
allow you to
portal-related
destroy
Easter egg.
Lightmatter.
It's not... I will not get interrupted by Virgil, because it's not an audio thing. We have a turret and a cube. There we go, that's it.
Hallucinations. Keep that in mind. Now, you
As
must
for the
do as I
puzzle,
say.
both
We need
casually
to
and
fix the
speedrunning, they are
shadow
fairly
anomalies,
simple.
not kill ourselves.
But now, speedrunning, it's fairly simple, because it's the intended solution, but fast. As a lot of these levels are. There's no one single underlying trick. Let me reword that. There is one single underlying trick, but it's an intended game mechanic. It's being able to stand in just a tiny sliver of shadows.
Commitment to the cause.
That's used a couple of times. That's really it in this one specific category.
Journalist, I have an idea.
Bing
Do you remember that exclusive we talked
36
about a while back? We are going to
is
flip
one of the
it.
longest
You'll be writing
levels.
about Arthur.
Well, again, this is
Do you know how many people
intended
he
but
would have
fast,
killed if
and
he succeeded
even
in
doing a
overloading the
speedrun,
core?
really
The initial
long.
blast would have
It's
killed
physically a large
290
area,
workers in the facility.
but it's
The
not really that
ensuing rock
difficult.
slide would have killed another 80 at the surrounding outpost.
There we go.
In total, 370 dead, all by Arthur's hand.
This forms two sides of a square, because that the beam of light matter can move side to side, and there's a button on each side to move backwards and forwards. So what it did there was, again, sort of form an L shape to be able to walk to the other button. Figuring that out casually definitely took longer than I'm making it out to be. And 37 is the last puzzle of the game. Again, casually quite a difficult one. And even for the speedrun, it is a bit unusual, because I
You
need
are
to
approaching the core.
use the
When you get there,
line of
control
sight
yourself.
mechanic
I know
to my
failure comes
advantage.
naturally to you, but
And
this
if you
time we cannot avoid
purposefully
it.
place
Anything
this
goes wrong,
crystal at
you
a
will not only
point
put
where
me
I
and
can
yourself at risk.
manually
Everyone at the
disrupt the beam.
outpost, including including James,
That's what I meant to say.
will
What
also
was
be
it?
in
Another
peril.
gold split. I'm on fire,
The core is
apparently.
powerful. Do not underestimate
So I
it.
placed that first light in as far to the right as I could to the wall, so that this lamp I can place as far to the left as I can. So the beam is now very dark red, so it's about to lose connection. Genuinely, it is quite scary what I'm going to do, even though I'm, nearly done with the game. Take this, move it away from the photon receiver on the wall, and there we go. That is actually the intended solution. Genuinely, that is quite scary because you're not quite sure. Yeah, because if the placement on the first lamp is off, then the second lamp can be a bit difficult. Actually, and vice versa, both lamps need to be pretty accurate. 37 done, on to 38. This is by far and away the longest level in the game. Once I actually load into it, I believe my gold segment is 11 minutes 30 seconds. Somewhere around there. So yeah, the first half is going to be overloading the core, so the big massive photon crystals. After that, we're going to turn it back on. Yeah, we're going to literally turn it off back on again. And then there's an escape sequence of about 8 minutes. It's heavily cycle-based, using moving platforms. So as long as I don't die, it should be relatively simple. But before that, we have, I think, about 2 minutes of cutscene and dialogue and story and stuff I don't care about. Hooray. This lifted really long. I'm guessing.
And my reputation. But that is
Since you mentioned the Portal Easter eggs before, you do know that this game is technically like in the canon universe, like officially by Valve.
By Valve, really? That I did not
It is.
know.
The developer emailed Gabe and said, "Hey, I'm making this game. Can I reference Portal and have it be in the same universe?" And Gabe replied, "Seems cool. Sure," or something dumb like that.
I mean, that seems like something Gabe would do.
So this game is the only official non-Valve game that's in the Portal / Half-Life canon.
Yeah, Amateur Science is mentioned by name twice, and we have 2 Portal Easter eggs, and that's a lot. Anyway, we flicked this lever to turn it off, but it's still on because of magical science readings or whatever. Stand here to activate a trigger, anyway. We have full story and stuff.
Crystals stable. Energy
We have
levels
about another
stable.
minute before we can actually do gaming.
Increased, and shadow anomalies have not subsided.
Yeah, if I look at my splits, my gold segment is 11 minutes 38, and that's without dying once.
Listen, we have exhausted all your options for exiting the facility. But since I now know what steps to take, I will fix
Are
the
you on
shadow anomalies.
PB Paste then?
Now, I do not trust
I'm
you
plus
around the
10.
core, so you're staying
So
in
if
that
I
I mean,
don't-
that's for an hour-long
don't-
run. That's not bad.
If
pretty
I
close.
don't die, then I could get pretty close. Yeah, because in my PB I died twice here. If I don't die, ooh, then I might be able to get very close. Because what I've been doing for the past couple of weeks, just while practicing marathon practice, I suppose, also going for sub 50 attempts, sub 50 minutes. Current PB is 50 minutes 45 seconds, and I have been on sub 50 pace before, but died several times, like near the end of the game, about level 26 ish. You get more story, I don't care. Oh hey, there's Ellen. You actually get to see her face. Kind of. Now we're gonna turn this scientific equipment thingy on again, and then shenanigans will ensue. Can you tell I'm really bored? Yeah, for some reason I need to stand next to that door to activate that dialogue. I don't know why. Interesting thing, there are achievements in this game. There is an achievement for standing in this room and waiting for 21 minutes. Yes. It's ridiculous. So what I did to get that achievement was load into 37, play 38, and then make us a cup of tea. Well, I have nothing to do. 21 minutes of nothing, and then you get an achievement. Gameplay! Actual gameplay, look at this. Most of it is platforming, it's not really that puzzle based, and I died. Most of it is platforming, yep. It's not puzzle based. And the speed of these fans move at is really annoying because it's slower than your walking speed. I'm constantly tapping W. So I cannot just hold forward and mash jump. Oops. It's cycle based with the first half is cycle based with these lights. Second half is cycle based with big moving platforms like we saw in a few tests previously. So if I only die once, this will be a pretty good run. So in terms of the speed run, this is just the intended route, but fast. Well, not really fast, it's just knowing when the cycles are.
No.
And not dying, doing everything first try.
Not now, Lux.
Honestly, kind of a relaxing ending, because for the most part, it's fairly easy. May sound weird for a scientific for an escape sequence. Yeah, the real speed tech here is just knowing the cycles. Knowing that I need to wait in that certain section. That's really the important bit. I'm gonna wait here. Yeah, knowing the length of these cycles, not continuously holding W. So there's not much in way of speed tech here, it's just platforming and hope I don't die. Here we have lever number 1 to, I guess, phase 1 of the overload sequence. Then we have 2 more. No, 3 more. We have 2 more, and then the... I cannot do maths. We did 1, that's number 2. We have number 3, and lever number 4 is when time is. It's midnight for me. I'm going to bed immediately after this run finishes.
You vermin! I am not letting you destroy Lightmatter.
That's pretty
If
easy.
you proceed any further, it will
He says when he
annihilate
dies.
you in ways.
But dying loses basically no time, because I have to wait for the cycle anyway. Totally planned, yes, I'm just that good. I really like this sequence,
With no other
because
choice,
it's really
I
easy.
will feed
I don't
you
even need to
the
move my
shadows.
mouse. I don't know why, but I find that quite funny. That as
You're
a
not
murder
journalist.
attempt.
Tell me, what were you doing before I first spotted you? Stealing photon crystals? Stealing data from our servers? I know what you are. Spy!
Actually, this is quite an interesting part if you do casually, because if you go to the left, then a small bridge or a small platform would collapse.
Did Arthur
And then you have
send
to go all the way back around
Was your
again.
loyalty that
So I guess
blind?
that's the only speed tech is
Think about
knowing
that
what's going to
time
happen.
He tried to overload the core. What if he caused
Oops.
the shadow anomalies? And all of
Yeah,
them
so
complaining.
from now on, it's going to be
I can't
quite a lot
control
of
the
those moving
shadows.
platforms.
Well, I can't
after this
control
section.
the shadows, and that's because of him. It's all because of Arthur.
It is quite annoying that the fan blades move at perfectly the wrong speed, so I need to constantly tap W instead of just holding it. That's just personal annoyance.
Who cares if the shadows destroy a couple of cities? Without light.
Oh yeah, Virgil is angry because we're going to destroy his livelihood. But yeah, this is lever number 3. We're close. That door closes for some reason. Let's do lever number 3. We are about 3 minutes away from the ending. Or, yeah, about 2 and some odd minutes.
Not so fast.
I always think that section goes far too early. Because it's supposed to be, like, trap us while we're still moving. It goes way too early.
Shadows will disintegrate you atom by atom. James, what took you so long?
I think we're very close. No, actually, we're not close to getting. This ending section is always a lot longer than I think it is. Because of these moving platforms that are coming up next. This is yellow. I keep forgetting about this section because it's yellow and really easy. Look. Now we get to the section which is annoying. Cycle-based, so as long as I don't die, everything is based on the first cycle, and is relatively easy to get to. So from now on, as long as I don't die, I'm fine. He's moving really slowly. And the music in 38, and actually the music in the entire game is fantastic. As part of the soundtrack, and also just to listen to it by itself, it's really good.
Wherever you are, spy, this is
Yep.
far from over.
Lights blocked, lights passed. Get on this one. I'll do that one. Now we're near the end. Oh, come on. Tried to get the earlier cycle. But it didn't work. Yeah, it's over there. Yeah, that's actually the main reason I died twice in my PBs, because I tried to go for an early cycle but failed. Anyway, this is the very last platform of the game, so time is in about 1 minute from now.
You're trapped.
And you may have heard of another character, James, the security manager.
Now watch as I close
There's James!
and
Oh, where is he?
darkness.
Yeah, there's James.
Ah, James, you made it.
That's the second time you can see a human character in this game.
Get devoured by the shadows.
So there.
Pest control. The applications for Lightmatter truly are. James, what are you doing?
These doors are supposed to close, and then with a climactic ending and stuff. But no, James is on our side.
Traitor! I thought
Now we're
you
going
were
to
better
flick
than
the
this.
final lever, number 4, and then time is in about 10 seconds or so.
Don't pull that lever.
And also we're now moving really slowly because it's really dramatic, etc.
I will give you anything. And Arthur, he can have Lightmatter. Just think about what you're throwing
3,
away.
2,
We can power
1,
the world.
time.
We can save humanity from
That's
pollution.
it.
We can
Game
save
finished.
humanity from itself.
I just let this play out. Jayo, my man?
Alright,
I
GG.
did a thing.
The ending time was a 51 flat, at least real time.
Oh, for me it was 50-50.
That's I guess that's including whatever invisible loads there were.
Oh yeah, it's just very slight lag spikes between each level. That technically is the loading screen. Yeah, actually in-game time on here is 50-55. What I have on live split is 50-50. So 5
Interesting.
seconds worth of 5 seconds worth of quote loading screens. I definitely do recommend getting this game if you like puzzle games, of course. Casually, it's really fun and it can get really difficult near the end. Before I leave, I do want to say thank you to Osmorn for playing Lightmatter, and he's actually the one that inspired me to buy this game. I bought this game specifically for this marathon. We were supposed to do a race of Lightmatter. Unfortunately, he couldn't attend, so I'm just doing a solo run. Thank you, Oz, for showing me this game. It's fun. It is now midnight, and I'm going to bed. see you, I guess, tomorrow or today, however time zones work. Time is an illusion, lunchtime double so.